For centuries, Mars has captured the imagination of humanity. Its reddish glow in the night sky has inspired stories of exploration, mystery, and the dream of a second home beyond Earth. Many have looked at Mars and imagined cities beneath giant domes, human colonies stretching across its deserts, and a future where life could begin again on another world. But beneath this dream lies a harsh reality. Mars is not a welcoming paradise waiting for us. It is a planet shaped by loss, silence, and extreme challenges. Its future may be far darker than many imagine. Mars was not always the frozen desert we see today. Billions of years ago, evidence suggests that the planet had flowing rivers, lakes, and possibly conditions that could have supported life. The surface was warmer, the atmosphere was thicker, and water moved across the land. But over time, Mars began to lose the very things that made it capable of sustaining a more active world. One of the greatest tragedies of Mars is the disappearance of its atmosphere. Unlike Earth, Mars does not have a strong magnetic field protecting it from the powerful forces of space. Over millions of years, solar winds slowly stripped away much of its atmosphere, leaving behind a thin layer of air that cannot trap enough heat to keep the planet warm. Today, Mars is a cold and unforgiving world where temperatures can fall to levels far beyond anything humans could naturally survive. The loss of water became another turning point in Mars' decline. Once, water may have flowed freely across its surface, creating landscapes that look surprisingly similar to parts of Earth. But as the atmosphere weakened, liquid water became unstable. Much of it disappeared into space, froze beneath the surface, or became trapped in minerals. The rivers dried, the lakes vanished, and the planet entered a long era of silence. Even if humans eventually reach Mars, survival there would be incredibly difficult. The planet lacks breathable air, has dangerous. The future of Mars may therefore be a story of exploration rather than replacement. It may remain a symbol of human curiosity, a place where we search for answers about the universe and our own origins. But Mars may never become the second Earth many people hope for. Its destiny may be to remain a frozen reminder of how fragile planets truly are. The story of Mars teaches us an important lesson. A planet's survival depends on a delicate balance of atmosphere, protection, water, and climate. Earth may seem ordinary compared to the mysteries of space, but it is incredibly rare and precious. Looking at the fate of Mars reminds us that protecting our own world is not just important, it is necessary. Mars is not simply a dead planet. It is a warning written across the cosmos. A warning that worlds can change, environments can disappear, and even planets that once held the promise of life can fall into darkness. The doom of Mars is not just about one distant planet. It is a message about the future, the universe, and the fragile home we all share. Mars was once a more habitable world. Mars was not always the cold, empty desert we see today. Billions of years ago, it had rivers, lakes, a thicker atmosphere, and conditions that may have supported life. Understanding Mars' past reveals how dramatically planets can change over time. Mars was not always the frozen and lifeless desert that we see today. Billions of years ago, the red planet was a very different world, with a much warmer climate, a thicker atmosphere, and large amounts of liquid water flowing across its surface. Scientists have discovered evidence of ancient river valleys, lake beds, and minerals that could only form in the presence of water. These discoveries suggest that Mars once had conditions that were much more similar to Earth, creating the possibility that simple forms of life may have existed there. However, over billions of years, Mars slowly transformed into the cold and dry planet we know today. The changes happened gradually as the planet lost much of its atmosphere and its ability to hold heat. Without a stable environment, the water that once shaped its surface disappeared, leaving behind only traces of its ancient history. The transformation of Mars shows that even a planet with the right ingredients for life can lose its ability to support it. The story of ancient Mars is a powerful reminder that planets are not permanent. Their environments can change dramatically over time, and the conditions that allow life to survive can disappear. Mars remains a fascinating world because it carries the evidence of a forgotten past, showing us what the planet once was and what it has become. The loss of Mars' atmosphere changed everything. One of the biggest reasons for Mars' decline was the gradual loss of its atmosphere. Without a strong magnetic shield, solar winds stripped away much of the planet's protective gases, leaving it cold, dry, and unable to maintain a stable environment. Mars' greatest tragedy is the loss of its atmosphere, which played a major role in transforming the planet from a potentially habitable world into a cold and barren landscape. In its early history, Mars had a much thicker atmosphere that helped maintain warmer temperatures and allowed water to remain stable on its surface. However, unlike Earth, Mars does not have a strong global magnetic field to protect its atmosphere from the powerful effects of solar winds. Over millions and billions of years, streams of charged particles from the Sun slowly removed gases from Mars' atmosphere, causing it to become thinner and weaker. As the protective layer disappeared, the planet lost its ability to trap heat, leading to a dramatic drop in temperatures. The thin atmosphere also made it nearly impossible for liquid water to survive on the surface for long periods. This atmospheric collapse changed everything about Mars. The planet became exposed to harsh space radiation, extreme temperature swings. The disappearance of water sealed Mars' fate. Water was once a major part of Mars' landscape, but as the planet lost heat and atmospheric pressure, liquid water disappeared. Rivers and lakes vanished, leaving behind frozen reserves and evidence of a much wetter ancient past. The disappearance of water was one of the most devastating changes in the history of Mars. Evidence from spacecraft and scientific studies shows that the planet once had flowing rivers, ancient lakes, and possibly oceans that shaped its surface. Water played a crucial role in creating the landscapes we observe today, leaving behind valleys, channels, and mineral formations that reveal a time when Mars was far more active and dynamic. As Mars lost much of its atmosphere, the planet could no longer maintain the pressure and warmth needed for liquid water to exist on the surface. Much of the water either froze beneath the ground, became trapped inside minerals, or escaped into space over millions of years. The once flowing rivers became dry channels, and the lakes that may have supported ancient environments disappeared forever. The loss of water changed Mars from a world of movement and possibility into a silent, frozen desert. Without stable liquid water, the chances of supporting life became extremely limited. Today, Mars still contains signs of its watery past, but those clues serve as reminders of what the planet lost. The disappearance of water is not just a story about a missing resource. It is a story about how environmental changes can completely transform the destiny of an entire planet. Mars shows us that even worlds with the ingredients for life can experience dramatic and irreversible change. Human life on Mars faces extreme challenges. Although Mars is a target for exploration, living there would be extremely dangerous. Humans would face radiation, toxic conditions, freezing temperatures, low gravity, and a constant need for artificial life support systems. Although Mars is one of the most explored planets beyond Earth, the idea of humans living there remains one of the greatest challenges in space exploration. The red planet may appear like a possible second home, but its environment is extremely hostile to human survival. Mars has no breathable oxygen, very low atmospheric pressure, intense radiation exposure, and temperatures that can drop far below freezing. Every journey outside a protected habitat would require advanced equipment and constant life support systems. One of the biggest dangers for future explorers is radiation. Unlike Earth, Mars lacks a strong magnetic shield and a thick atmosphere to protect the surface from harmful cosmic rays and solar radiation. Long-term exposure could create serious risks for human health. Another major challenge is the limited availability of resources. Water, food, energy, and shelter would all need to be carefully managed in an environment where natural support systems are almost non-existent. Even building permanent settlements would require enormous effort and technology. Habitats would need to protect people from extreme conditions while creating artificial environments similar to Earth. Mars may become a destination for scientific discovery, but transforming it into a comfortable human world is far more difficult than many imagine. The harsh reality of Mars reminds us that exploration requires preparation, innovation, and respect for the dangers of space. Mars serves as a warning about planetary fragility. The decline of Mars shows how delicate a planet's environment can be. Its story reminds humanity that Earth's atmosphere, water, and protective systems are incredibly valuable and must be preserved. Mars may not become a second Earth, but it can teach us important lessons about survival in the universe. The fate of Mars serves as a powerful reminder that planets are fragile and constantly changing worlds. For a long time, humans have imagined planets as permanent places, but the story of Mars reveals that even entire worlds can lose the conditions that make them suitable for life. A planet's survival depends on a delicate balance of atmosphere, temperature, water, and natural protection from the dangers of space. Mars once had many of the elements needed for a more active and possibly habitable environment, but gradual changes transformed it into a cold and silent desert. Its lost atmosphere, vanished surface water, and extreme climate show how quickly a planet's future can be altered over cosmic timescales. This transformation is not just a story about another world. It is a lesson about the importance of protecting the environment of our own planet. Earth has conditions that allow life to thrive, including a protective atmosphere, abundant water, and a stable climate. The decline of Mars reminds us that these features should never be taken for granted. As humanity looks toward exploring other planets, the Red Planet teaches a valuable lesson. Creating a future among the stars begins with understanding and protecting the world we already call home. Mars may be a symbol of exploration, but it is also a warning from the universe.